Hey everybody, so I wanted to face the camera first to let you know that we're going to do a little studio tour. My daughter's not home, my husband's at the gym. It's the day before they all go back to work or school or whatever. Yay! The holiday vacation's been great, but yeah, I'm ready for everybody to go back to what they normally do. Alright, so we're going to do a little studio tour. My studio's not completely clean. It never really is. If you have a working art studio or craft room, you know it never really is completely clean. I thought about cleaning up more and then decided against it. So, you know, it is what it is. It's a working place, so I thought I'd show you just the reality. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the entrance to my craft room. It is one of our spare bedrooms. We have a 4-bedroom house and we only have one kid. So, of course, we have a room and she has a room when she lives here, which she doesn't full-time normally. And then my husband has his own office and I have my own office. That is something that happened within the last year. I used to be out in the garage. Actually, years and years ago when we first moved in, before my daughter was born, my craft room was in the same exact room. And when she was little and needed a playroom, we put all my craft stuff out in the garage, and I crafted out there for years. When she no longer needed a playroom, we turned it into a guest room. And then I kind of had an epiphany after I got hurt at work between, I think, the first time and the last time. I don't know. My memory is not what it used to be, partially because of the said injuries, but anyway, or mostly because of the said injuries. Anyway, we had sort of an epiphany. My husband really wanted to get his car in the garage. He drives a sports car, and the dust and dirt in the garage was not good for my asthma that I had since the injury at work. So we decided we didn't need a guest room for the one time a year people came to visit. We could make other arrangements that it would be a better use of space for me to have a craft room in the house, and it's been the best thing we ever did. So here is the entrance to my room, and right at the entrance I have a IKEA metal trash can. That's where I store all my large tubes of decorative papers and large pieces of doweling and large rulers and that sort of thing, and the little chicken on the floor, if you can see him. My house was built in 1969. Nothing is plumb and level anymore, so the little fabric chicken on the floor is actually filled with BB shot, and he holds the door open. So anyway, there's a few of those around the house. So as you walk in, this first cabinet is actually a microwave cabinet, and this has been in here, and the last time I did a studio tour, it was in the same place it's in now. I've rearranged it a little bit, but up on the top, those bins up there are where all my handmade papers are. And the little jars have, for the most part, handmade embellishments in them. That's my paper cabinet and my inspiration books and things. So I'll show you more of that when we go around the corner. And to the left, as we walk in the room, I guess this would be called my altar space. I didn't really think of that when I put it up there. This clock was here from when it was a guest room. It's a clock that I inherited. It was my great-great grandmother's, or 3 times great-grandmother's. I'm not sure. My mom would know for sure. It hangs on the wall here. I was going to actually move it, and it never got moved, and it just stayed there. On top of it's a little piece of artwork that Claudia Rossi made me, a little fairy door. And my studio sign is back there, and a cross. Now, I'm not a practicing Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I'm not necessarily a practicing Catholic. But for me, the cross symbols and Christian symbols are a symbol of family and tradition, and they're comforting. So I do have them all around the house. And this is one that my husband and daughter bought me for Christmas one year. And then I have what I guess would be considered a little, again, an altar space, an altar table. This is an old nightstand that actually my neighbors, years and years and years ago, they don't live in the neighborhood anymore, were throwing away. It was white, and I repainted it. It was in my daughter's room for a long time, and when she was getting rid of it, I snagged it. And I have my candles and my cup of feathers and my rocks, and little just pieces of things that, you know, people have given me or that I've found. And they just live there. And that's where my apron hangs. Do I remember to always put it on? Well, no, that would be why I have art clothes. I try to remember, but I forget. This is my paper cabinet. There is my studio microphone for when I need to do voiceover. And my letter journal saver book, and that's my reference mixed media reference book. Behind those are my inspiration books and inspiration photos, and the basket actually has Dodie dolls in it. And then up here are a few plastic beads, but mostly that's hand-painted papers. The blue basket has notes and art cards and things that you all have sent me. I save them and put them in that basket, and then when I am working on a journal page that I think I can incorporate something in a pocket or use something out of that basket to glue it down, I pull from that basket the little notes and great things that you've sent me. Here's another little corner with just different pieces of favorite things of mine, memorabilia and things. The little pumpkins and hearts were painted by a friend of mine who does a lot of folk art and one-stroke tool type painting. She's a really fabulous artist, and well, that kind of painting doesn't thrill me. She does a lot of it, and she does it very well, so I have a few pieces of hers. And there's my bulletin board. All different kinds of stuff tacked to that. Including, again, memorabilia people have given me, pictures and things, and this necklace is from some Happy Mail I got from Patty Tolly Parrish. And that's my grandmother, who passed away this last year, in the middle in the red. And these are from Sigrid Soto. I love them. When she sent me them in Happy Mail, I just left them hanging there, and I think that's just where they're going to live. They're just fabulous. This little painting here is by Melinda Kutsona and Pauline Agnew. I got that from them. I went to a retreat with them, and all of the students got a little painting that they did. It's fabulous. It hangs right there. And my computer desk, paperwork. I hate doing paperwork, but paperwork, the things in front between the light and the files, that's stuff I have to do something with. It's not the only pile. Underneath my desk, see that pile right there? Yeah, that's bookkeeping. I hate bookkeeping. More paperwork. I try to stay organized, but you know, I hate paperwork. So anyway, and here's just little, you know, things that make me happy, inspirational things, and, you know, just color and bling and things that make me happy. And my desk usually always is pretty clean like this. This is not, I didn't do this because I was filming. It always looks that way. I like to have workspace on my desk. I don't like it when I can't see the top of the desk. That drives me up the wall. So here's a piece of my artwork, one of my Buddhas. And these are some of my gessos here, along here. And then the little blue bucket. I just got the blue bucket. It used to be yellow. I love the blue. That is my tiny attacher and my staples. Now this bookshelf, which used to be in the garage studio underneath my table, is all my pens and markers, and my tin of Inktense is down there at the bottom, and the wooden crate on top of it is my distress stain and re-inkers and things that I paint with. They're not the ones that I have that match up to ink pads. That's in a different place, I'll show you. And then, you know, like all my gelatos and my Neocolors and my Pitt pens. And up here, these are a few more. This is glue. These two black baskets are my golden fluid acrylics. And then these three boxes on top are glue, more glue, gessos, grounds, mediums, varnishes, glazes, and all that stuff. And then these drawers here, the bottom one has texture pastes, the top one has gel mediums and cleaners and ink pad refreshers and things like that. That, I don't know, twirly thing, caddy, that has my sewing tools in it. So my sewing scissors, my sewing marking pens, And all the sewing tools, because I do still sew sometimes, those are kept separate from all the other stuff. I have some expensive sewing shears in there. I don't want to get gummed up with glue and adhesive. That's a bad idea. And let me turn off this light so we can see better, because it's going to get glary. There we go. All right, so there is my bucket of inspiration sticks, and you can see one of my hooks. It's hanging from my shelf here, and this is where I clip up, when I'm painting hand-painted papers, I clip them to these bulldog clips, and I hang them, which are hanging from these hooks, and they're all around my studio, and then I can do a whole bunch of them, and they can be hanging up to dry and off the table, and I can work on something else. This little bin has crayons in it and wax things. So sometimes I like to do melt art or use crayons on papers, and so I have this cute little tin that's got some metallic crayons and things. I like the metallic ones because they melt really interestingly on papers, and I really like the way they look. These are some mini wooden butcher blocks. I've picked them up over the years at different thrift shops, and I really like working on them when I'm working with eyelets or I'm cutting through leather or things like that. And so I've kind of developed a collection of them, so yeah, now I kind of look out for them, but they're really cute. I have them standing here, and these all the jars around my studio have different things in them. So I've got Scrabble tiles, and there's 2 of them here that have handmade holy cow, clay, things with the Stampin' Up! Clay and toilet tissue and things, where I've made impressions of things. We've got jars of rhinestones and jars of glitter, and as you come around this other desk, and this is just like the computer desk, it's the same desk, I've got my new Rolodex for 2015. I've got more jars of flowers and patches and flat back beads, and there's my 2014 Rolodex and my little crate of index cards, some ribbon, and just, different storage things. These storage things, let me move some hooks. So these containers here, which are really cute, I love the way they look. I just picked these up at Tuesday morning, and one has fabric yo-yos, ATC supplies, paper clips, things that were out here already in other containers, but these look prettier. I mean, that's what we're all about, making our space look pretty and inviting, right? Here's one of my ATC holders that I'm trying to fill up. When I get ATCs from you all, they go on there. These large jars were something I inherited from my grandmother's estate. They used to have salad dressing in them. My family used to own or work at a couple of grocery stores in San Francisco, Railroad Market and Victory Market. And I don't know if these came from the market or she just really liked salad dressing. I am not sure. I think this was kind of a mayonnaise. I could be wrong. I don't know. I have no idea. And then this large jar here in the corner I inherited from a friend of mine, and she was moving into a smaller space, and they were sort of semi-retiring, and she had this large jar she was going to get rid of, and I said, can I have that? And for years it just kind of floated around my house. I didn't know what to do with it, and then when I got these other jars from my grandmother, I decided to fill that one with some of my old lace pieces, and it looks great there. And then other little jars of things. Now this cabinet is where I have my StazOn and my molding supplies and tape runner and Yoo-Hoo and my little Xyrons in that drawer. This is an old tape cabinet. I think it's a CD cabinet. I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, I got it at Goodwill for like $1, $1.99, and it holds all of my distress inks, my big pads with the blending tools. In these are index card boxes, and they're all labeled, so I know which colors in each one. And then under the table are a couple of my travel bags. Now that one on the floor is my recipe book bag. The one up on the shelf here you can see peeking out, that is my travel art journal bag, which I have to clean out. I just shoved it under there after my last trip. I haven't done anything else with it. It needs to be cleaned soon. The cabinet it's sitting on are some of my sewing supplies. My serger is actually in the bottom drawer with a few supplies and some of the, I think the pedal, the presser foot for the sergers in there, and a couple other things. And the top has mostly ironing supplies, my pressing ham and tailoring block and all that stuff. This whole cabinet's all ink and sprays. So ring inkers that go up, match up with stamp pads, spray inks, mini ink pads, blending tools, and alcohol inks in the top drawer. That whole cabinet. And then on top of that is my scoreboard and my envelope punch. In this drawer here behind my trash can is my fabric paints and markers. On top is hot glue. That's actually a drawer I think I have to clean out. I think it's just hot glue. Oh, old mouse pad. Oh, my hot knife. You know, and I actually have two of them. I don't know why I have two of them. God knows. And this cabinet here that this other shelf is on, that's got my Big Shot in it with all my dies. That one is a file drawer, and that has all my handmade patterns and labels for the computer printer and stuff like that, so I can print my own stickers. And the top drawer is office supplies. This drawer is business files, and this drawer is, you know, random stuff, you know, flash drives and cables and cords and envelopes and all that stuff. All right, so as we scroll around, you'll see my new IKEA cart. This one is my art journaling cart, and most of the time it is the one that's out and lives here, unless I'm working on a canvas. Then the other one, I switch places with them. On top of this table, these two wooden cabinets are where all my tapes are. And in front of them, those are my water containers. Then we have, this one is, these are painting supplies and, you know, general mixed media crafting supplies, scissors and palette knives, and there's a screwdriver in there and a pair of pliers and a hammer. You know, you'd be surprised how often you need those when you're doing mixed media. The pliers, just sometimes you need them to get the paint caps off the paint tubes because they do not want to come off. And then I have these two, they're actually picnic silverware holders in the back there, and they are from Target, and they hold all of my paint brushes, which I have a lot. I know, there we go. I just purged some. And this old dirty mason jar, this is where my brushes are that need to be cleaned and washed. Now this is a craft, it's actually a quilt, whoa! I guess I shouldn't do that. So this is actually a quilting mat, and this is from the fabric store. It's pretty thick, you can see, and it's plastic. It's a quilting cutting mat. They come, and it's, I think it's 36 by 60 or something along those lines, and it's a little bit bigger than my table, so every few years I buy a new one and I cut it to fit with a pair of large metal shears. I think they're for cutting flashing that I've had for years. They're in my toolkit in the garage, and these mats really last a long time. You can cut on them, of course, because that's what they're made for. You can, you know, you can paint on them, and the paint will scrape right off with a plastic scraper. I usually have some sort of drop paper on here to protect the mat and keep it as clean as I can, so I'd have to do less scraping. And they last a really long time. Their regular price on them is like $50, I think, or $60, but I always buy them with a coupon, so they're always about $30, $35. I think they're on sale right now at Joann's, and I really love it, and it works great on my work table, and it keeps everything neat and clean and organized. Plus, bonus, if I need to cut something, I can lift up the drop paper, and I've got these are 1-inch squares, so I can just measure right on the table without having to get a ruler out. I love that. This is the area where I'm working right now, where all the drop paper is, and I need to do a Journaling Crazy Island style page, so my Large Delusions journal is out. Underneath my table. Okay, these are things I don't use as often, but I still need to have in my studio. So up here are drying racks of cookie sheets and rags. So those are for drying my paint supplies, my brushes and tools. I put them on cookie sheets with a rag underneath them because the sink that I clean is in the garage. And so I clean them out there, lay them on the cookie sheet, and then bring the cookie sheet in here and lay it on my work table to let them dry. The drying racks are like cookie racks when you're making cookies. And those I really like to use when I'm making clay embellishments and things like that. It lifts them up off the table and allows them to air dry all the way around without, you know, the bottom like staying wet for eternity. There are some small canvases and things there that I can paint on, and there's some more bigger canvases there. That is mostly supplies that I use when I'm making Happy Mail, but that's some like miscellaneous ephemera and paper and things. And there's some more down there. One of those little bins is full of doilies, one is full of tickets, one is full of stamps. And the box on the floor are my oil pastels. I don't use them a lot. I do have them. So they don't need to be out, but they can live down there, and that works just fine. The basket has some like little painting cups and things to mix paint in. Q-tips. You know, Q-tips are handy everywhere in the house, I think. My roll of drywall tape I just got in the mail, and from a fan and friend. And the white bucket has my pliers and wire cutters in it. Underneath of those is magazine pages and newspaper pages and things I can use for creating hand-painted papers, and I can just use them underneath my journals or in between pages or use them as paint palettes, and so they are right there. In between, there are boxes of wax paper and my deli wrap. There's a roll of brown hardware store paper, like craft paper, palette paper, and then these bins of drawers have metallic paints and watercolor paints, and one is Martha Stewart paint, one drawer of neons, one drawer of rub-ons, one drawer of stickers, one drawer of glitter. And this is pared down from what it used to be, and now I'm able to keep them all in here, and they're handy, they're accessible, they're under the table. The drawer of watercolors are my spare tubes when I need to refill one of my watercolor palettes. My 2 watercolor palettes live right there. The 2 big round white things, and one is gouache and one is watercolor. And then there's my sewing machine in the corner, and on top of it you do see a 6-pack of Guinness with actually iced tea bottles in it, because I have plans for a craft project for that, so I was saving things. And then right here is my paint, my other cart full of paint. Yes, I have a lot of paint, I know. And I just cleaned and reorganized it. Most of my fine art paints are up here, student grade on the bottom, and on the middle and on the bottom, and then some distress paint on the very bottom. And I have my Dina Wakley paints right here, and also Claudine Helmuth, and then my clean rags right here. Now, when this was a craft room before, years ago, we'd taken the closet doors off. I actually used to have a desk in the closet, and that was my sewing table. When it became a playroom, we hung these curtains up. They stayed up through the guest room phase, and when I decided to move in here, I just left them up. And I like having them there. Inside the closet are all my other supplies. Now, keep in mind, I know I have a lot of stuff, but this is pared down greatly from what it used to be. I have been collecting arts and craft supplies for literally for years, and up until recently, never got rid of anything. Literally. So I finally have it pared down enough that I have everything, nearly everything here in the studio, and it's great. But the closet is, you know, it's a storage closet, so it's always messy, and I know a lot of craft room tours, they don't show their closets because they're like, it's a hot mess. Mine's a hot mess. I'm going to show you anyway. Okay, so here's my really large blank canvases. I just was able to move these in from the garage recently, so yay! In the corner is a cardboard cutting mat in case I need to cut fabric or something, and it's too big to do in here. I have that. These are toolboxes. I have 2 of them. When I was out in the garage, I had them, and I decided to keep them and use them in the closet in here when I moved in the house. This one is all paper crafting tools. a couple drawers of punches, scissors, cutting boards. The bottom drawer is where my large Xyron is, my heat gun, all that stuff. This one, behind these canvases, is sewing supplies. So, like, I have one drawer of just threads, or two. I think there might be 2 drawers of thread. Keep in mind, I've been a seamstress for years. I used to make wedding dresses, so I have lots of... Oh, there's that box. You know, I was looking for this box the other day. I better leave that out. It doesn't belong in there. It's not a sewing supply. I've been sewing for years, and I've been a seamstress for years, and I have a lot of supplies, and, you know, like this is my little bag I take when I do weddings, and, you know, I need to take it with me in case I need to do alterations for the bride at the wedding. So that's what that is. And then on the shelves above are mostly sewing supplies, not all. You know, I've got a few patterns and some box of batting, and this actually is glitter, let's see, foil, glitter, that says sparkle. I don't know. Oh, these are backup stock on pens. These are kind of a crayon called Sparkle. Whiteout pens. Behind it is another one of these with spare back stock on, like, Sharpies and Uniball Signo pens and Scarlet Line pens. When I get a sale on something, I stock up on a few extras, and I keep them here in the closet. They don't have to be out, but I do have them. Extra nonstick craft mats, some envelopes, that's a pressing board, and underneath it is a nonstick ironing mat. And then this is some burlap coffee bags I intend to do something with at some point. This is some of my fabric that I recently got printed with my artwork on it. And I'm going to do, that's also coming up on a project. Blank art journals. I just found out about a sale from Claudia, so I stocked up on some Delusions journals. I'm having trouble with words this morning. Cigar box. Some burlap and some texture like canvas and things. I like to keep a little bit handy because I use them sometimes onto my canvases to give texture, and then I gesso over them. This is full of old handkerchiefs and bandanas. This one's full of old lace and fabric. This one's full of hand-painted fabric. Now on this side, we've got spare wax paper. You know, one lone composition book, because I thought I covered them all, and then I was cleaning and found another one, because, you know, that's what happens. Some binder paper, you know, it was like 30 cents, so I got a little ream of just regular binder note paper to do stuff with. This is some easy mount for rubber stamps, and behind it is, you can see in the back there, there's some large Xyron refills. More spare journals, because I bought, I think, 2 of each when I found out about the sale Claudia told me about, so I got 2 large ones and 2 small ones. That basket's full of chipboard. That basket's full of envelopes. That basket has envelopes and bags in it. You know, like I take or have taken a lot of medication, so I save the bags from the pharmacy, and there's security envelopes and things like that in there. This is journals and books to be altered. I do have to every now and then pare down my collection of them because I really have limited space, but I do like to keep my journals, and I like to collect journals, and every now and then I'll pull one of the small ones out, and you've seen me do it in the past with the Primitive Portraits journal, and I'll just do a whole collection of things in that one journal, and then I'll, you know, that helps me free up some space. And I kind of, you know, I am kind of a crafting hoarder like the rest of us, and I'd like to rather do that than get rid of stuff. Okay, file folders, odd bits and pieces like can lids and round metal containers. And then, like I said, this whole thing is paper crafting tools. Stuffed underneath the toolboxes, I have big pieces of chipboard and big pieces of watercolor paper and stuff like that. Up on top, you can see, way up on top is where I keep my fabric and my sewing trims, because I use them, but not that much anymore. So they don't need to be down low. Lower, I have some more miscellaneous bags and things. There's my Zutter Bind It All. And craft foam, jelly plate stuff, and then a box of fibers. More Bind It All stuff. A box of fancy ribbons and trims. And then there is fabric and canvas intended for journal making, so that I keep low and handy. In the corner, there's a few miscellaneous sewing supplies because they fit in the corner. So we have a box of boning, a box of Velcro, and then there's a box with crochet thread in it, which actually was something from my grandmother's estate. If you don't know what boning is, I know somebody's going to ask me if you don't sew. It's what holds your dress up when you have a strapless dress. They sew it into the bodice to hold the dress up. Anyway. So that's that, and that's my crafting space. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I hope it gives you some ideas of what you can do. My space is really small. I know Claudia has said that, you know, it looks much bigger on camera and in pictures. It is not. It is 10 by 10, literally. Measure that out on your floor. It's little. Oh, and I forgot to say, I have two, these are pantry shelves, wire pantry shelves from Lowe's that are above my work table and my other corner desk. They hold the supplies I use the most often. All these little binders have my stamps in them. Those bigger binders in the corner have my stencils. The boxes there have miscellaneous small parts and jewelry making supplies. And then, you know, up above you have homemade stamps and mark making tools. There's a box of just wooden pieces like tongue depressors and bookbinding supplies and stick pin supplies, and all those sort of things are up on the top of my ATG gun. You can see sticking out. So I hope this gives you all some idea of what you can do with a small space, and, you know, really think about what you can do. Up until recently, all of my furniture was handmade or hand-me-down or thrift store. When I moved into this room, I was able to buy two of these corner desks and this cabinet from Staples, and really that was the first time I had any like really nice brand new furniture. It's and I've been really happy with them. Everything else has been repurposed from another room in the house, and normally when I reorganize something in here, I think first, how can I repurpose something else I already own? So anyway, I hope it gives you some ideas. Go out and have a great day. Be creative and do something nice for yourself because you deserve it, and I'll see you later.